What if the scariest monster you ever faced was not the one outside your window? What if the real monster was the truth inside your own heart? A truth so painful, so dark, so unbearable that you would do anything to never say it out loud. This is the story of a 12-year-old boy named Conor. A boy who is visited by a monster at 7 minutes past midnight. A boy carrying a weight so heavy that even a monster cannot lift it alone. This is A Monster Calls. Conor O'Malley is 12 years old, and his life is falling apart. His mother is sick, very sick. The kind of sick that doctors speak about in quiet voices, with careful words and expressions that say more than they are willing to say out loud. She has been fighting for a long time. Treatments, medicines, hospital visits. Conor has watched all of it. He has been strong, he has been brave, he has held everything together. But at night, Conor has a nightmare. The same nightmare. Every single night. He is standing at the edge of a cliff. The ground is breaking apart, and someone he loves is falling, and he is holding their hand, and he has to choose whether to hold on or let go. He always wakes up before the nightmare ends, because the ending is too terrible to face. At school, things are no better. Kids avoid him, some bully him. His teachers look at him with pity, that awful, suffocating pity that makes you feel more alone than being ignored. His father left long ago and now lives in America with a new family. His grandmother, stern, cold, difficult, comes to help but makes Conor feel like a guest in his own home. Conor is completely, utterly alone. And then, at 7 minutes past midnight, the monster comes. It begins with the yew tree in the churchyard behind Conor's house. The ancient tree, massive, dark, twisted, begins to move. Not in the wind, by itself. It pulls its roots from the earth. It rises, it grows, it becomes something enormous and terrifying. A creature made of bark and branch and shadow, with eyes like fire and a voice like the earth itself speaking. Conor is not afraid, and that surprises even the monster. Most children, the monster says, would scream, would run, would hide. But Conor just stares at it, because Conor has seen real terror, and a monster made of wood is nothing compared to the nightmare that lives inside him every night. The monster speaks. "I have come to tell you 3 stories," it says. 3 stories of truth. And when I am done, you will tell me a 4th. Your story. Your truth. Conor agrees, not because he wants to, but because he has no choice. And so begins the strangest, most painful, most beautiful journey of his life. The monster tells its first tale. Once upon a time, there was a king whose wife had died young. He had a son, a prince, and the prince fell in love with a young farm girl, beautiful, kind, full of life. But the king remarried. A new queen, said by many to be a witch. The prince died mysteriously. The farm girl was accused. The new queen demanded her execution. But the yew tree monster appeared and destroyed the queen's house, saved the farm girl. A happy ending, right? Wrong. Because here is what the monster reveals next. The queen was not a witch. The king himself had poisoned his own son, hungry for the young farm girl's healing powers. He was the true villain, and the monster saved her, not because she was innocent, but because it was the right thing to do. Conor is confused, furious. Butler Queen was the villain. Everyone thought she was evil. Most people, the monster says quietly, are neither good nor evil. They are something in between. And that is the hardest truth of all. The second story. A man who did not believe in the old ways. He cut down the yew trees. He built roads and factories where forests once stood. He called the old magic nothing but superstition. One day, his granddaughters became sick. In desperation, he came to the monster and begged for help. The monster refused. "You destroyed what I was," the monster said. "You cannot call upon what you have already dismissed." The man lost everything. Conor is angry again. "That's not fair. His granddaughters were innocent." "Yes," the monster agrees. "They were, and they died, and it was not fair." But the man made his choices long before the crisis arrived. We must be careful which truths we deny, because one day we may desperately need them. Conor falls silent. He is beginning to understand. These stories are not about kings and farmers and old men. These stories are about him. Between the monster's visits, Conor's life continues to crumble. His mother's condition worsens. The treatments are not working. The doctors begin speaking in even quieter voices. His grandmother tries to connect with him, but Conor pushes her away. He doesn't want her help. He doesn't want anyone's pity. At school, a bully named Harry torments him relentlessly. But one day, something breaks inside Conor. He grabs Harry, and he doesn't stop. He destroys everything in sight, breaks windows, smashes furniture. The monster appears in broad daylight, fueling his rage, letting him pour out every ounce of pain he has been holding inside. When it is over, Conor is trembling, and the strangest thing happens. No one punishes him. Not the teachers, not the principal, no one. Because everyone knows about his mother. And no one knows how to handle a boy whose world is ending. And that invisible forgiveness is almost worse than punishment, because it means everyone has already given up hope. Everyone already knows how this ends. Everyone except Conor. Or maybe Conor knows too. Maybe that is exactly the nightmare he runs from every single night. The monster comes for the third time. This time, the story is simple. A man who was invisible, who walked through the world unseen, unheard, unfelt, who screamed and no one listened, who reached out and no one took his hand. Until he called upon a monster, and the monster made him visible. Not by giving him fame or power, but by making him face himself. By making him say out loud the one truth he had been hiding. Conor listens, and he knows. He knows what comes next. The monster turns to him. "Now," it says, "it is time for your story, your truth, the fourth tale." "I don't have a story," Conor whispers. "You do," the monster says. "You have always had one. Tell me the nightmare. Tell me what happens at the end." Conor tries to resist, but the monster will not let him go. And finally, the words begin to come. He describes the nightmare, the cliff, the crumbling ground, his mother falling, his hand holding hers, and then the part he has never said, the part he has never allowed himself to think. "I let her go," he whispers. "I let her fall. Because I couldn't stand it anymore. The waiting, the hoping, the pretending. I was so tired, so exhausted. And a part of me, a small, terrible part of me, just wanted it to be over." He collapses. He is sobbing now. Deep, ugly, broken sobs. "I didn't want her to die," he cries. "I swear I didn't. But I wanted it to stop. I wanted to stop being afraid. And that makes me a monster, doesn't it? That makes me the worst person alive." The monster kneels beside him, and its voice, for the first time, is gentle. "No," it says. "It makes you human. Your hostility, your pain to end. That is not a sin. That is not evil. That is the most honest thing a person can feel when they love someone who is suffering. Conor, you are not a monster. You are a boy who is about to lose his mother. And that is enough. That is more than enough to carry." Conor's mother dies. Not in a dramatic moment, not with last words or grand gestures. She simply goes. And Conor is there, holding her hand, saying goodbye. Not running, not hiding, present. Because the monster gave him the one thing he needed more than anything else. Permission. Permission to feel what he truly felt. Permission to be imperfect. Permission to be a boy, not a soldier, not a hero, not someone who holds everything together. Just a boy who loved his mother. And lost her. And survived. He goes home with his grandmother. And outside in the churchyard, the yew tree stands still and quiet. Just a tree again. But Conor knows. He knows it will always be there. Whenever the truth becomes too heavy to carry alone. A Monster Calls is not a story about monsters. It is a story about grief, about guilt, about the unbearable weight of loving someone you cannot save. Patrick Ness wrote this book based on an idea from author Siobhan Dowd, who passed away before she could write it herself. In a way, this book is also an act of love, a story completed for someone who could not finish it. And maybe that is the most beautiful thing of all. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe, share this video, and leave a comment below telling me which novel you want me to cover next. Until next time, be honest with your monsters.